fortunate to have with us this morning. Believe it or not, we're fortunate to have Bo here this morning, Bo Dietl, whose appearance is brought to you by NetJets, by the way. And Bo, of course, a veteran New York City police detective, hero cop, who has seen the similar things and knows a lot about it. And Bo, what happened?
Well, before we get into that, do you have any of that plutonium 210? After listening to Andre and Gregory there, I want to sprinkle it on my French toast. Enough for these guys over there. This is a very serious issue here in New York City, and a lot of people are rushing to judgment, and they're judging these cops. You know, it mirrors the Diallo case. The Diallo case,
the Amadou Diallo case.
The Diallo case in 1999 was when there was 4 plainclothes officers that came upon this man, and they thought that he had a gun. The one cop yelled he had a gun, and they fired 41 shots. I had gone to parties and people say, how can they fire 41 shots? And you know what? What I did was I got all the transcripts for the court testimony for the 4 officers, and I actually put together a documentary about the Diallo shooting with the actual transcripts, what was going through those cops' heads when they stopped Diallo and when the shooting came down. And one of the statements from one of the cops is when they mentioned there was a gun, all bets were off. You know, everybody could judge the slowness, that there wasn't a gun, that there is. At the time of the shooting, these cops believe that they are armed and that they could be shooting back. If you're involved with a shooting, you don't see where the bullets are coming. There's flashes. You don't know. You can't hear the direction of the bullets. And for all you know, in those cops' minds, there were shots coming out of that car, and they wanted to stop them. We had 2 New York City detectives a few months ago that didn't fire their guns fast enough, and a guy shot a bolt in the head, and they're dead. We had the friendly fire incident, to use an exact example, with the football player for the NFL who would friendly fire. When the other soldiers were asked why did they fire, they said because the other ones were firing.
The Pat Tillman case.
The Pat Tillman case. Yeah. This is a natural reaction. When they feel as though there's a justification to fire your gun, they want to stop that person from releasing bullets that could kill those guys. This is 3:30 in the morning. The undercover cop, they made motions to go get the gun and the finger up like this, up in the air. You know what? It's very easy to judge these guys in the next day, and I think my friend Mayor Bloomberg there should chill out a little bit. Ray Kelly, you have department guidelines. Then you have the penal law of New York State. The penal law of New York State states the fact. If they are using a car as a dangerous instrument, you could use deadly physical force to stop it. That's the penal law. That's what my friend in Queens, the DA Richard Brown, will be investigating. The guidelines, they come up with these guidelines now. You can't shoot at a car. But a few weeks ago, there was a policewoman that fired upon a guy in a car, and she shot him and she killed him. She got a medal.
Why did she fire?
Because he was trying to hit her with the car. She fired through the car. She got a medal. We can't have it all ways. We have to investigate this case. Yep. It's a terrible tragedy what happened to his family, but you know what? It's a real tragedy also. Did you ever talk to cops that were involved in shootings? I have. A lot of these cops are emotionally gonzo because they really believe when they were firing their guns that they're firing their gun into a car that people are shooting back at them. And that's the mindset. At 3:30 in the morning, there's a gun there. They want to go home to their families. Those 2 detectives in Flatbush didn't fire fast enough. They're dead. So let's all balance it out. Well, let's take some time to regurgitate this whole thing.
Well, I mean, the facts are, this is going to take a while. I'm sure you would agree.
Did these guys have any police records? These guys who were shot.
Well, yeah, one of them had, I think, about 7 armed robberies.
Oh, really?
We're not. You know what, Bernie?
Oh.
The fact of the matter is, we can't go by their records. What we have to do, Bernie, is we have to go by what happened that night. What was the mindset? Certainly, you throw murder out. You have a thing called justifiable homicide. What the mindset was, what they heard in the bar there, that there was going to be a gun outside. The guy walks out, go get the gun, have the gun. Gun is mentioned. In the Diallo case, one of the officers, I'll never forget, stated, Bernie, that as soon as they said gun, and Diallo never went down, he was crouched in that position. He had the wallet in his hand. And I mean, if anything cries out, you could go to investigations.com. That's a website I have. You could show the whole Diallo. It was a reenactment of the whole shooting. Very interesting, Bernie, to see it chopped down into pieces. You could talk about this forever, but the fact of the matter, Bernie, is that this is a tragic mistake that occurred.
So Bloomberg was prejudging, he was pandering, in your opinion, and he should just shut up?
Well, you know what? All of a sudden, we got my friend. I like Al Sharpton. he's a good guy. He's okay.
He's a
They
great
come out
guy.
of the caves. They come out of the caves. They wait for something to happen. What they should do, you know what? There was 2 black cops. There was 1 Hispanic cop.
No,
1 white
He
cop.
turns out he was the Lebanese Syrian, the guy who shot the 31 shots. It wasn't a white cop. It was a Lebanese Syrian, not a Hispanic.
Well, he's very combat orientated. But the point is, anyway, my point that I'm trying to get at here is that this is not a black and white issue, and let's stop making it. It's a terrible tragedy. This man was going to get married. He was out having a good time. If there was not a gun, which it looks as though but there may have been a 4th guy that ran away with a gun. We don't know. Let's wait for the investigation before we start to condemn these cops. And again, you're not out there at 3:30 in the morning. Those 2 detectives on Flatbush Avenue were out there. 2 of them got shot in the head because they didn't fire fast enough. So you got to make that fast judgment, and everybody can stand here. I'll never forget once I got in a shooting in a 110 precinct when everybody fired into the car. You know one of the reasons why I fired? Because the other guys were firing. These guys were burglars that tried to run one of the cops down. They started firing. I started shooting. There is a thing called this contagious shooting, and it's something where you want to take that person out so that person doesn't kill your partner or kill you, and that's what's in the mindset. That's not murder. That's what they call some terrible accident that occurred.
And by the way, these guys had never used their guns in the line of duty before.
No, none of the 5 had ever fired.
The majority of the police don't use their guns, Bernie. And you know something? It's just a terrible tragedy. We have a lot of incidents. That Ray Kelly wanted him to resign. He's a great police commissioner, great police commissioner. If I got in trouble, I can't call him up because he wouldn't do nothing for me. He's a great police commissioner, probably one of the greatest we have. For them to call for his resignation is infantile.
Well, for you